What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into Week 14. And as we get closer to the playoff stretch, guys, if you are not already a part of the Catch fam, make sure to hit that subscribe button, join the best community in all of fantasy football. Also, if you enjoyed this video or any of the other videos out there, if you hit that like button, it means a ton to the channel, guys. But most importantly, make sure to get in those comments and let us know what defenses you are debating this week. But not only defenses, let us know about what quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker issues you are having this week so we can set your team up ahead of Sundays, guys. But with all that said, guys, let's get into it. Let's get into the must-starts. In this video, guys, I'm going to kind of shy away from defenses that are 70, 80% rostered. So kind of obvious, if you got the Dallas Cowboys, got to start them against the Houston Texans. But my number one defense here that I'm going to be looking at is the San Francisco 49ers, just under 70% rostered, coming off of 3 back-to-back awesome weeks, guys. 12 points against Arizona, 17 points against the Saints, 19 points against the explosive Miami Dolphins offense, and that is without Jimmy Garoppolo aiding their offense on the 49ers, dude. They looked fantastic against the Dolphins. They really just shut down everything that the Dolphins like to do in a positive way. They won by double digits. This game was a statement game for me when I looked at this 49ers team because we had been so used to the defense obviously balling out, but when Jimmy Garoppolo took a step back, obviously the rookie quarterback had to come in, Brock Purdy had to come in here and do his thing. I was really concerned that this was going to be the train off the tracks right now with the 49ers season, but that defense stepped up. They fed CMC. The 49ers looked great, guys, and now they get to go ahead and go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which are having issues all across the offensive line. This is before the Saints game, so I don't know what's going to happen in that one, but I imagine the Saints defense is going to have some success against the Tampa Bay offense here, and that's because the Buccaneers have been so bad this year on offense. The efficiency is way down. All the skilled players on that offense are just not what we are expecting them to be, and Tom Brady is definitely not what we are expecting him to be, right? So I can understand how maybe not a lot of teams were starting the San Francisco 49ers going into that Dolphins matchup, and I can still see some people scared to start against Tom Brady. So I want to give you the confidence that this 49ers defense is for real. The San Francisco 49ers team is for real, and I think you can absolutely start them with confidence against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they got Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas the rest of the season. And I think this defense is going to be the backbone of their playoff drive. So this is going to be an important defense for you guys to have on your radar going forward. Up next, I'm talking about a defense that I've been basically looking at over the last multiple weeks. I feel like I'm very familiar with these guys now. It's the Baltimore Ravens defense going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett, who is very turnover prone. Steelers offense is still not what I like to see. Even George Pickens, who I think a lot of people are high on going up against the Atlanta Falcons, didn't even have like one fantasy point. I mean, there is a lot of inefficiencies on that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And that's why I think the Baltimore Ravens here are in for another rich play here. They only had 6 fantasy points against the Denver Broncos, and the week before they only had 7 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But you really got to play the matchups here. They have shown a lot of consistency to get after the quarterback and get sacks, which has been something that the Steelers have struggled with basically over the past multiple years now because they have had so many offensive line issues over the past few years. After this week, though, you get the Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Pittsburgh Steelers again. So again, this is just a friendly reminder that the Ravens need to be picked up. They need to be stashed because they've got one of the best playoff schedules. So teams that are either fighting for the playoffs, I think you can start them this week, and I think they're going to do a really good job for you in that last week or the week before last of your regular seasons, and then they're going to absolutely win you some championships because they're one of the best defenses, A, just in the game right now, they're top 5, but B, in terms of strength of schedule. Up next, Seattle Seahawks in the top 10. They had 9 fantasy points against the Los Angeles Rams. I tell you what, the Rams looked like they really wanted to win that game. Division game, sometimes a little wonkiness comes out of there. Cam Akers scored like 2 times. I don't think we've seen that happen since like 2018 or whatever. He has not looked that good in a while. But the Seattle Seahawks still had 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. They still did what they always do, and that's great turnovers. That secondary is really good. Woolen is an absolute dominant corner, rookie corner. I think he's just going to be one of those guys going forward with Sauce Gardner that are kind of top of their class going forward, right? That's big outside corner that just gets the job done. But Up next, they got the Carolina Panthers, and we don't really need to spend too much time breaking down how miserable they are on offense. But basically, guys, I think this is an absolute smash play in terms of a schedule boom type of matchup. I think the Carolina Panthers are one of the worst offenses in the league. They obviously did have the bye week to prepare for this game, and they do kind of have the Seahawks kryptonite, and it's D'Onta Foreman. So I expect him to get a lot of work in this game, but I still think you're looking at Sam Darnold, who is going to have a turnover or two, especially against a defense, which is one of the best defenses in the league at creating those turnovers. And it looks like, just like I thought that might happen, it looks like they got back in their mojo of going after the quarterback and getting those sacks. And I think that's going to be a reoccurring theme this week against the Carolina Panthers. Next week, after this upcoming week, though, they have the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is the last week the Seahawks defense is really going to be relevant for your fantasy team. So get the most juice out of the lemon before you got to throw it in the trash. Just mentioning that Chiefs team, man, wow, what a loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals just have their number 3 games in a row with those two teams, and the Bengals have won, and with a close margin as well. But listen, the Chiefs, I know this is a championship DNA type of team, guys, and they are going to come back pissed off after that loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. The 2 weeks before that loss to the Bengals, they had double-digit performances, 11 fantasy points against the Rams, 10 points against the Chargers. Now they get to go up against their division rival, the Denver Broncos, who are just miserable on offense. I think this is a really good play for the Chiefs to bounce back, so I would put them in your queue to start these guys. I think they're going to be a really big play here. I think they're going to be another double-digit performance, right? This Chiefs defense has shown us over the past couple of years that they're not necessarily a defense that's going to get you like 20, 25 points like the Browns did this week against the Texans, but they are a very safe play. They are probably going to get you double digits when they are playing against an inferior team like the Denver Broncos are. Denver Broncos have been really good for a good defense to come in and take advantage of them. Another reason why I want to mention these guys is because when you look at the strength of schedule to go to the championship, it's one of the better ones, right? They've got the Denver Broncos this week, the Houston Texans the following week, and then the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos, guys. So this is the perfect type of schedule that you'd want to see in terms of a defense that you can stash and have another good unit, another good defense on your bench as well that you can kind of complement the Kansas City Chiefs with. And you can kind of pick and choose when you want to deploy this Chiefs defense and take advantage of the matchups, right? Because they're not like a top echelon defense. Currently, they're at number 18 on the season. But in a good matchup like this one this week against the Broncos, they are in line for double-digit performance. Up next, talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens, right? So, again, this video is being made. We do not know the full kind of synopsis of what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson's injury, but we do know he left the game with a knee injury, which is definitely not good, especially for a guy like Lamar Jackson, which relies so heavily on the mobility. But okay, let's go over the two scenarios, right? One, Huntley's the starting quarterback. He looked really bad against Denver, but we know what he can do. He's very similar to Lamar in that he's going to rely on his mobility to get things done. And then if Lamar is back, I think he's going to be very hobbled. He's not going to be as explosive as he usually is. And this offense is just really, really not that good, to be honest. No skill players outside of Mark Andrews that are really worth taking a shot on in terms of fantasy, and no skill players that you should really be scared of as a defense, honestly. And that is exactly why when you look at the numbers of the defenses that have played the Baltimore Ravens over the past few weeks, the Jags had 8, the Panthers had 9, and the Broncos had 13. All of these defenses have horrible offenses to complement what they do, and they still have been getting it done, guys. And I think that's exactly going to be another fuel to the fire for why the Pittsburgh Steelers can be a really good pick this week. The Steelers are really good at creating turnovers. They just had an interception against the Atlanta Falcons, and they basically had an interception over the past month, right? You got guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick in the background. You got TJ Watt who can jump up and intercept passes at the line of scrimmage. I mean, you got a lot of playmakers on that defense. They have been obviously very bad this season, but I think this is a good week for them to kind of have one of their double-digit performances like we saw just a couple weeks ago against the Indianapolis Colts, where they had 12, or 4 weeks ago into the New Orleans Saints, where they had 11, guys. What we're really relying on here is for that defense to get after the quarterback, which they don't do with a lot of great success, but with either a banged up Lamar Jackson or Huntley, who is not the best quarterback, I think that they're going to have more success, and I think the turnovers are for sure going to be there. And then just looking forward, guys, they have the Carolina Panthers the following week and then the Las Vegas Raiders. So if we see them come out here and ball out against the Baltimore Ravens, which I think they can do, well, looks like you guys might have another defense on your roster for the following week against the Carolina Panthers. Up next, going to talk about the 31st ranked defense in the league, and a defense that I do not talk about often. That is the Las Vegas Raiders. But guys, let's just first off take a look at the historicals. Last week against the Los Angeles Chargers, they had 10 points. The week before that, they had 6. And the week before that, they had 8. This is a defense that has been looking a lot different over the last month. They have looked a lot more improved. And a large part of that is the fact that this pass rush has really started to turn up. They've started to take advantage of the fact that, oh yeah, we got Max Crosby, we've got Chandler Jones. Why the heck are we not actually being successful at getting after the quarterback? Well, last week against Justin Herbert, they had 5 sacks. And the 2 weeks before that, they had 3 sacks against Geno Smith and Russell Wilson, right? And then also on top of that too, they are starting to create some turnovers, as last week they had 2 forced fumbles. Well, now they get to go up against the Los Angeles Rams, which is just a putrid offense, a team that is just I have no excitement for at all over that roster. Matt Stafford, they've shelved him. Who knows if Aaron Donald will come back? I think this team is just absolutely hot garbage. This is exactly what happens when you put everything on the Super Bowl like the Rams did. Then you end up having to pay the piper at some point where you've got no assets, you got no draft picks, and you got no money to spend, right? Let's let the Las Vegas Raiders take advantage of this Rams team. I'm going to be streaming against this Rams team until the end of the days of this regular season and this championship season, guys. So definitely, I think you can queue up the Las Vegas Raiders here. They have been getting after the quarterback recently, and I think they're going to get after Wofford, Perkins, and whoever the heck they throw back there. Maybe they'll throw Sean McVay back there at quarterback. It's not going to matter. Las Vegas Raiders, I think they get it done. Last defense I'm going to talk about here is a defense that I expect to be widely available all across your platforms. A defense that is very, very good at creating turnovers, one of the best in the league, and is also very good at creating touchdowns. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals going up against the New England Patriots. That offense with the New England Patriots, outside of that week they had against the Minnesota Vikings, they have just looked absolutely miserable. Mac Jones is very angry at the 2 offensive coordinator shenanigans that they've got in New England. But that offense is absolutely just a hot mess, right? Outside of Ramondre Stevenson. So I think you can queue up this Arizona Cardinals defense against the New England Patriots. The Cardinals are coming off a bye week where they could strategize against this Patriots offense, which really doesn't do a whole lot anyways. Their playbook is very simple. They check it down a whole lot. Mac Jones even expressed the fact that he's very annoyed about that. And this Cardinals defense, they don't just turn the ball over. Like I said, they create a lot of 6-point potential. They have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns on the season, guys. So you've always got that upside too. And then the following week after this week, you have the Denver Broncos, right? So this could be a 2-week play, because what I really like about the Cardinals defense is, sure, they do bend. Sure, they do give up points. But man, do they get at the quarterback, and man, do they create some turnovers. And that is exactly what you want out of your fantasy defense. This is a reason they are number 13 coming off of a bye week, right? So they have a lot of success on the season, guys. We have seen them ball out this year. So I think you can queue them up. I think you can play them. And I think you can stash them for next week against the Broncos as well. With all that said, guys, this has been the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 14. Hope you love this video, guys. If you do like this video, really appreciate if you hit that like button. Really encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Join the best community in all of fantasy football. But most importantly, make sure to get in those comments. Let us know what is going on in your respective teams or waivers so we can help your team get set up ahead of Sunday. But with all that said, this has been the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 14. And you saw it here first at The Catch.